So we're in week 2 of the power of the invite, and I'm so excited about today. If you're more in love with series where we get really more into the Bible, we're always going to do that. We're going to talk about the Bible today as well, but I want to challenge you just for 2 weeks because we're starting the school year. People are coming back to church. People are looking for a church. People have moved here looking for a church. So I thought it was really important we talk about the power of the invite just for a couple of weeks before we start a new series next week. But last week we learned that we are created to lead others to a relationship with Jesus. Above all else, like if you're trying to figure out what is it that I'm supposed to do with my life, well, one thing we all have in common is we're all called to help people find a relationship with Jesus. And last week we said 2 things. 1, we're called to do it. And 2, we have power. The Holy Spirit gives us power so that we can be His witnesses. And what that means is if you allow the Holy Spirit, He will lead you to the right conversations. He'll open doors for the right conversation. He'll create interactions with people that you couldn't do. And next thing you know, you're saying things you didn't even know you could say. And you think you're so cool, but really it was the Holy Spirit. So it's not you, okay? And we talked about how the power, we have the power to change the trajectory of someone's life through a single invitation. Has your life ever been changed because of an invitation? Not even to church. Maybe somebody invited you to a restaurant and it just changed your life. Have you ever had that? Maybe it was for the worst. Maybe you had an invitation that changed everything for the worst. Like for me, I get wedding invitations. You guys get invited to weddings, right? Always seems like a good thing. But here's the problem. There's some weddings that are like party weddings. Like they have the wedding and then afterwards everybody's dancing and stuff. And I don't know if you guys noticed, but I'm really white. I'm really white. Did you guys know that? And when I dance, I look like the whitest guy ever. And when it's a slow song, I can get away with it, right? I mean, I can do it. But sometimes I just think in my head when the DJ changes it over from some really nice slow song to turn down for what? And I'm not really sure what to do. And I have it in my head that it's like a movie and everyone's circled around me and I'm dancing and it's not so much about the bride and groom anymore. It's really about me. It's my day. But what happens is that's not really what's going on. So I've had some embarrassing moments. And so now when I even do a wedding, when I officiate a wedding, if I see that there's a dance floor, I'm like, hey, let me sign that marriage certificate. I'm out. I got to get out of here, okay? Because I'm not doing that again. But there's other times when an invitation, you don't even know what you're getting into, and it changes everything. Okay, a few years ago, I got invited to go to a country concert. Any Keith Urban fans in the house? Come on. He's coming, right? This week, he's coming to the AMP. I got to go to a Keith Urban concert, and I'm not even a country fan at the time. So I was kind of reluctant to go, and my friends were like, come on, let's go. And it was actually in Fayetteville at the football stadium, and it was for the Walmart shareholders. And I had recently been in Walmart outside and found a Walmart name tag, and I kept it. And it was before I was a Christian. Stop judging, okay? It was way before I was a Christian. But I was like, you know what? I'll hang on to that because shareholders is coming, and I'll have my name badge. And so we got there, and I showed them my name badge. You know, if you just act like you know what you're doing. But it was full. It was packed, and so we couldn't get in. But a friend of mine, he knew someone, and she invited us to go down to the second row of Carrie Underwood and Keith Urban. Now, at the time, I'm not even that big of a fan. My brother's here. My brother was with me there. He was actually standing beside me, and we were down there, and I didn't know it, but something's about to happen that's going to change everything for me. This was probably 6 years ago. Was anybody at that concert by chance in Fayetteville? Was anyone there that day? A few people were here. Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, there was thousands of people. And something crazy happened, and I actually have it on video. Would you guys like to see what happened? Would you like to see this? No, y'all don't? Okay, that's fine. We'll go on to something else. Does anybody want to see it? It's crazy. Okay. Take a look at this video. So Keith Urban is now walking up into the stands, and I'm in the second row, and he's just kind of rocking out there and walking along. Let's see if you can see him here. Look for his really beautiful golden hair. Do you see it? There he is. And so he's walking along, y'all, and he's coming towards me. This is crazy. I'm not even a fan, but I'm like, this is nuts. So he is now standing right in front of me. I'm actually having to lean back because he is doing a guitar solo in my face right now. And now what's he doing? He's taking the guitar off and he's signing it. What is going on? This is crazy, right? And then he gives it to a fan, and right beside me, he gives it to a fan, and I'm freaking out. My brother's freaking out. My friends, there's the guy with the guitar. It's crazy. It's just amazing. And then I think they show the big screen here, and you can see that fan. That fan is me. He gave me the guitar. He gave me. I've got the Keith Urban guitar. It's right here. You know you want it. You can't have it. It's mine. Security, come put that back away in the vaults. It changed everything. He was right in front of me, this close, doing it, and I don't know his song, so I'm like going, I don't even know what he's saying. But now I'm a huge fan. It changed everything for me. I love Keith Urban now. He is the man. He is the man. Man, reliving that, I get all sweaty again. It was crazy. Isn't that nuts? Aren't you proud of me? If you're a visitor here today, you're welcome, okay? Anyway, sometimes amazing things happen and change everything. We weren't even supposed to get in. We didn't even really want to go. And now I have this crazy story, this crazy encounter with a celebrity that's just a hilarious story. Some of you were there. Do you guys remember that? Those of you there, do you remember that? That was me. You were jealous over me. While that was life-changing, we have the power to invite someone to something even greater, a relationship with Jesus. Like you have the ability to invite someone to a relationship with Jesus that could change everything. I love this story. I love the fact that years later, I had a new coworker and we somehow got on the topic and he's like, I have video of that. I'm like, no way. And I love the whole story. But the greatest stories in my life are the moments when I had a God encounter that changed everything for me. The greatest moments are the God encounters I've had that created this opportunity for us to start SoCo Church. The greatest opportunities and the greatest moments of my life are when God has spoke to me and changed the game for my whole life. And you know what? That same Jesus, that same God, wants to do the same thing for you, but not only you, the people that you do life with every day. Do you believe that today? While we know we have power to change a life, why do we fail to invite people? Why do we think that people won't come when we invite them to church? I shared last week, statistically, there's a lot of different research organizations, but I believe Barna was the one that said roughly 90% of Christians will never invite someone to come to church with them. That is crazy. 90%? That's nuts. We have to be better. We have to do better. So I did some research, and I started looking. I even asked some questions on Facebook, and I saw some reasons why people don't invest, why they don't invite people to church. I want to share these with you. These are the 5 biggest reasons that we as Christians won't invite people to church. The first one, the number one overall reason, are you ready for this? We just don't think about it. Isn't that sad? Isn't that a little convicting to think that we just don't think about it, that we have this special thing in our life and we just don't think about telling others about it? This has got to change. We learned last week this is our very purpose. Jesus' last words, hey, go reach people, go disciple people, go tell people about me. And yet Christians today say, well, I go to church, but I just don't think about inviting people to church. The second reason is I'm afraid I'll be rejected. I understand this one because when you look like this, you grow up with a lot of rejection, okay? I'm just going to be honest. I got rejected a lot. But we have to get past the fear of rejection. Here's what happens. We have opportunities to tell people about Jesus, and the devil gets in our ear and tells us things like they don't care, they don't want to go, you don't need to talk to them, you're going to be an idiot, you're going to look stupid, and so we just don't do it. We let the enemy get in our head. Number 3, our church is already too crowded. Wah. Are you kidding me? This is the third. They surveyed thousands of Christians, and the number 3 reason was our church is too crowded. I don't know if you know, but churches are closing their doors at record numbers right now. The church is dying. Denominations are dying. The truth and the opportunity to tell people about Jesus through the local church is dying with this generation. Millennials are walking away from the church at ridiculous amounts of numbers. Ridiculous statistics, that sounds better. So we have to do something about it. And we can't be upset. In fact, if your church is too crowded, that's probably more of a reason to invite somebody, because that means something's happening. Right? It's not a boring church. It's not a dead church. Lives are being transformed. People are changing. So why wouldn't you want to invite somebody to your church if it's crowded? By the way, we're adding a 1 o'clock service. If you'd like to come to that, help us not crowd our 10 o'clock, I would appreciate it. Number 4 is this. Nobody ever challenged me to invite anyone. We're going to challenge you every week. Hopefully you've been challenged. We've got these amazing cards on the way out. You can keep them in your pocket, put them wherever you go, leave them wherever you go, give them to somebody, say, check out SoCo Church, go learn about us. We make it even easier for you. The 5th one is this. I don't know how to start the conversation. Of all of these, this is the only one I kind of get. Of all of these, this is the only one that really makes sense to me. And I know all of you that are like ADD are bothered that 3 of them have periods and 2 don't. Don't worry about it, okay? Just eyes on me. Don't worry about that. All the teachers in the room, starting back to school, I get it, okay? But listen, I understand sometimes it's hard to have the conversation. You're afraid of rejection. You're afraid that someone is going to say something, and you don't know exactly what to say. So let me help you. Don't say anything weird. That's it. It's just that easy. It's just simply, hey, I'm at a new church. It's a really great place. They're fun. It's energetic. I'd love for you to come check it out sometime if you're interested. Here's a card. Check it out. If you have any questions, let me know. Boom. End of story. It's super easy. Just don't be weird. Don't be so worried about it. Don't be thinking that they're going to come punch you in the face because you ask them to church, because that rarely happens, 0.1% of the time, okay? So some of you may get that. But let me help you. Pray for an opportunity. Last year, we shared a passage where Jesus says the harvest is ready to go. It's ripe, and there are people waiting, but the laborers are few. There's few people willing to go actually tell people about me. So here's how you start your day. Let me challenge you with this. Every day, Jesus, thank you for this day. I want you to know today I want you to use me. If there's an opportunity to tell someone about you, use me. Let my eyes be open to the people around me that are hurting, that are broken, and that are in need of a community of believers. And if there's an opportunity, Jesus, please use me. Amen. 20-second prayer, and you'll be amazed how your eyes are open and how conversations start and how you become alert and aware of opportunities to tell people about Jesus. You with me? You guys are a big crowd, but you're quiet, so I just need you to clap your hands and let me know you're here. Come on, clap your hands. All right. Now let me tell you this. Why is it that somebody who does come to church with you are going to enjoy it? Because I'm going to share with you now 4 of the greatest reasons people don't like your church. The 4 top reasons. So let's get this out of our system real quick and make it easy on you, okay? Number 1 is this. We don't like going to church because churches are boring. I think we're a lot of things at SoCo, but we aren't boring. Would you agree with that? We're not boring. Not every pastor got a Keith Urban guitar, okay? Take that. They probably got like, never mind. Listen, we're not boring. We have fun. Sometimes I hear our kids, and I'm like, they're having more fun than we are. We have fun outside. We have fun in worship. Today, was that worship not amazing? Come on, make some noise. Our worship teams are ridiculous. I feel better. I couldn't wait to get up here and speak. I was just fired up because our worship team kills it every week, and it's powerful, and it's fun, and we're not like sad and bored, and occasionally I'll see someone sleeping during a message, and I want to like throw a ping pong ball at their head, but I'm not, because you might have worked hard the night before. But we're not boring. Number 2, churches are unfriendly to visitors. We are not. We are not unfriendly. I'm going to tell you we've had, okay, I will. Okay. I thought I had been, but maybe I'll take the jacket off. Maybe that'll help. So we've had 2 emails where I've been emailed directly where people like really gave it to me. Like, I can't believe you played a secular song in church. And I just can't believe you would do that, you know, basically telling me I was the devil and just being so hard on me. And I'm like, that's fine. You know, there's a million churches you can go to if you don't want any secular music ever played, but we have some fun, so we're going to do that occasionally. But it's crazy, and I had another email, and they go on and on and on and on, and then they end it with this. But I must say your church is the friendliest church I've ever been to. That's right. And I want them to know if they're watching online, I'm using their mean email as a point in my message today. So take that. We are not unfriendly. Number 3, churches are more interested in my money than me. This one's actually true. We'll move on to the 4th one. This is not true. I'm not interested in your money. I'm interested in you. I'm interested in you finding God's best for your life. And if He doesn't have your heart, then He can't have your life, and He can't have His best for your life. And by the way, consequently, when you give your heart to Jesus and you begin to even give Him your finances and trust Him with your finances, not only does that make room for Him to bless you, come on somebody, but it also, listen, but it also creates an opportunity where the local church can blow the minds of people in the community and be a life-changing life source for the people and the organizations that need Jesus. So when you give, we get to give. When you give, we get to help church planters that are planting churches all over the U.S. By the way, more people come to a relationship with Jesus through a church plant than any other way. Yeah, I'm going to give money to that. We also get to give overseas. We also get to give to local organizations right here like the Deb Project and different things, and we get to make a difference. Isn't that awesome? Number 4 is this. Churches don't have childcare that I can trust. Let me help you with this one. We're background checked. We have security systems. We have security personnel. We have amazing volunteers, an amazing kid pastor. We have strong systems in place. I mean, I can't even get back there. Our security's like, sir, I don't know who you are, who you think you are. I don't know what you're trying to do. I don't care about your Keith Urban guitar. You're not getting back here. I think it's a power thing. Pray for them. I really do. I think they just like taking power. We have an unbelievable kids program. Our kids team is, would you make some noise for them? Just let them know. I mean, they are amazing. They are amazing. It's important to me because I have a 2.5-year-old and I don't even think twice about it. I'm never up here thinking, I hope he's safe back there. He's absolutely safe and he's having a great time. And every Sunday after church, he's singing the songs that they sing. And it's an awesome, awesome place. Okay, now that I'm drenched, I want to share with you something. We say all of that, but I want to give you the why. Because here's the deal. It's not just people that are far from God, that are lost, that are unsaved. Absolutely, that's a priority to us. There's also people right in our communities that are just far from their purpose. They're showing up to church somewhere, or they're, yeah, I'm a Christian, but they're not living in their purpose. I'm telling you, when you get in your purpose, some of you know it's the best life you can live. I love my life more right now than I ever have because I feel like I'm 100% walking in the purpose that God has for me. I want that for you. SoCo Church is designed to help people find their purpose. That's why we have our next class today. We're going to help you find your purpose. So I want to share a story of a family right here at SoCo that we love. Take a look at their video.
Hi, my name's Jack Major. I'm 15, and this is how we found SoCo. So I was just on my phone, Instagram, doing the usual, and I came across SoCo Church. We saw it was on the square, and we were moving towards the square, so location-wise, that's perfect. And we saw a meetup at Onyx where Pastor Brad and Jess and SoCo people who moved up and are working there would be there and just ask questions, talk things SoCo. So we went as a family, and we really got plugged in.
Jack sees SoCo, and the cool part was he goes, hey, it's at Onyx. And I'm like, free coffee, let's go. And so we all 4 load up. We go down the street. It's just a mile from our house. Went to Onyx, met Pastor Brad, Jess, some of the leaders that had moved up here for the church. And I don't know what it was, but just instantly felt a connection. Like I can't even really describe it. Like we just said, hey, this is like kind of where we belong. Jenny and I have been praying about maybe changing churches from Fayetteville, coming up to Bentonville, this new house. And it's amazing when you pray for open doors God will listen, He will respond, and great things can happen. We were so stinking excited for the church to launch in January. And then as that story kind of continues, I've been able to invite my best friend, and he joins me for church often on Sunday mornings. Jack has invited friends. Millie's invited lots of her friends. Jenny will probably talk about, we started a small group, and even the power of social media. My son invites us, we go to church, and then there was a guy that left a 5-star review like I did on Facebook, and he made a comment about how kind and how fun and how friendly the church is. And I just said, hey man, that's great, you love our church, so do I, come sit with me. And we interacted on Facebook, and now he's a part of our small group, and he sits in my house right here on Sunday nights and is in community group with us.
I think for SoCo, one of the things that's been so special is that they, from the beginning, made us feel welcome, and that we had a place to belong and a place to serve. And so all of us have gotten involved and have been serving, and so it feels like it's our family and that we're part of it. And so we also decided we had talked about it for years, but we finally decided to open up our house and invite people just to come and do life with us, and the real, authentic, messy. And it has been one of the biggest blessings for us to invite people into our home and do life together in real community. And I think when SoCo says that it's about souls and community, they mean it. Finding a place to serve, to belong, to be real. We've come out of a hard season in our life, and instead of feeling like we had to get it all together to be able to go to church, we knew that church was the best place for us to be. And finding a place to serve and invite people into our home has been part of just an incredible part of our story. We're so grateful for SoCo.
Yeah, and then if I take that, I guess for me, even a step further, I've been baptized as a young kid. Jenny had the same experience. Jack was baptized as a young child. Millie had never been baptized. And I think this was 6-7 weeks ago, 8 weeks ago.
Sure.
Millie came forward, and what did you tell us?
My parents always said I had to wait till I was 10 to get baptized. So it was a few weeks after my birthday where it said Baptism Sunday. And so I just wanted to be baptized, and I felt leaded by God to be baptized at SoCo as a family.
And so we just thought that was just way cool. We wanted to be plugged into a church where our daughter could be baptized. And then a couple weeks ago, as Jenny and I are just really transitioning out of just kind of the hardest season of our lives in a whole lot of areas. And our son said, hey, Mom, Dad, I really want to be rebaptized now as I'm going into high school. I just want to reaffirm my decision that I made really early in elementary school, but I want to be baptized. And then Jenny was like, well, mine was so long ago, I don't really remember. And then mine was in high school forever ago. And I thought, how cool would that be if we could all be baptized? And I'll try not to start crying. But to have my daughter baptized, and then my son, and then Jenny and I were baptized together. And just because Jack found a church and we feel plugged in, and then my son invites us, we're inviting people, and everywhere I go we invite people. Jack, were you with me at Old Navy? And we just told some lady about SoCo, and she was like, where is it? We told a waiter the other day. I've told friends when I met some guy at Payway.
Leave the cards anywhere just whenever you have
Yeah.
a chat.
And it's great that we go to a church where, number one, it feels comfortable to invite people. You feel like it's a safe environment. But then at the same time, the message is going to be on point. You're going to laugh. You're probably going to cry. The worship is unbelievable.
And you know that there's going to be a message that's really going to share the Word of God and to bring
Absolutely.
freedom. The freedom that we found in our marriage, in our life, in our family. We want others to be able to experience that. So it's such an easy place to invite people to. You know that people are going to be loved on and feel welcome. And so we want to keep inviting people into our home, into our church. And we're just so grateful for Jack finding SoCo and inviting us.
We're the Majors. And we love SoCo.
Come on, make some noise for the Majors. I love this family. Unbelievable example of, they said they were even driving to Fayetteville. They were going to church, but they were not living in their purpose. Now they're leading a group. They're telling people about church. They're telling people about Jesus. I love it. Let's live our lives that way. Let's find purpose, and let's help other people find that purpose as well and not keep it to ourselves. Last week we shared the Great Commission. Matthew 28:19, go and make disciples of all nations. Acts 1:8, you will be my witnesses. John 20:21, as the Father has sent me, I am sending you. These were all things Jesus said before he ascended into heaven. The very last things that he said. It's worth noting that these were his last earthly words before his ascension. That gives them even greater weight to many who believe that Jesus' last words should be our first priority. Jesus' last words should be our very first priority. I shared with you earlier that it's an unbelievable amount of high percentage of Christians that will never share their faith. And I believe that we can change that. I believe that we can do something about that. We've made it easy for you. She said that in the video. She said it's easy to invite somebody to SoCo. I love that. We learn in Acts about a church meeting going on. This is where the first churches are being developed, and there's a discussion. And they're discussing whether new Christians should also have to become Jewish. Because Jesus was Jewish. Should Gentiles and people that come from different backgrounds and religions, should they have to take on the Jewish faith as well to become a Christian? Should they have to take on the traditions of the Jewish faith? And I love James, the brother of Jesus. He shows up and he says in Acts 15:19, "It is my judgment, therefore, that we should not make it difficult for the Gentiles who are turning to God." Let me translate that for you today at SoCo. It is my judgment that we should not make it difficult for people that look different than us, that act different than us, that are a different skin color than you, that maybe come from a different nation than you, that have different beliefs than you. We should not make it difficult for them to experience Jesus. If you believe that, would you clap your hands in this place? So we don't. Just like James said, we're doing the same thing today, and it's unbelievable when we get a hold of the power of the invite. It's unbelievable what can happen in your life and in the lives of the people you interact with. Here we are, hundreds of years later, and we're doing our best to make it easy at SoCo for people to experience Jesus, but not just Jesus, a community of people, a place where they can feel loved, a place where we can walk along with them through their journey. I believe there are churches that don't want to grow because growing churches are messy. Because people have problems, starting with me. We have problems, and a lot of places don't want to deal with that. I'll be honest, that's all I want to deal with. I just want to deal with people that aren't perfect. I want to deal with people that are trying to find a new way. I don't want to deal with perfect people. Y'all are so quiet. You're so quiet. So what can you do today? Take a step. Because here's what I want to close with. We oftentimes, if you're like me, I think about what it's going to be like in heaven. And oftentimes I think about the day I get to meet Jesus. What an amazing day that's going to be. And I can't wait for Jesus to say, "Well done." I can't wait for Jesus to tell me, "High five, man, you killed it, you did awesome." But I also wonder, if I'm not careful, if Jesus might say, "I'm so glad that you put your faith in me. I'm so glad that you made it to heaven. But I have one question for you. All the things that I did in your life, why didn't you tell anybody about me?" You remember those experiences we had together? How come you never left the church and told anybody about me? My prayer for you and for me is that when we get there, He doesn't just say, "Well done," but He also says, "I want to reward you because you lived a Christ-like life." You see, Jesus came to the earth not to be served, but to serve mankind. And how did He serve others? Through the power of the invite. He was constantly inviting people to a new life, a new way, inviting people to be healed, inviting people to be restored. He gave His life to the power of an invitation. Prayer for you is that when you get to heaven, Jesus says, "You know those days when you showed up to church and you were just back in the nursery And you thought you were just back there serving and changing diapers, but you would sing and maybe pray a little prayer over that baby. I want you to know that baby grew up and he's in heaven today, and you were a part of that. You know those times you were serving at SoCo and you were high-fiving people as they came in and you were just kind of being you? I want you to know you made an impact and a difference on this person and this person and this person. You know that day at work when the enemy got in your head and said, don't say anything. I know John's going through a difficult time, but don't bug him. But you pushed through it and you said, John, I'd love for you to come sit with me at SoCo. I believe it's a place where God can speak to you and you can be surrounded by some men that will help you. And because you did that, John's life was changed and he's here today. You guys feeling that? The day that Northwest Arkansas is 100% full of Christian people that have it all together, I give you permission, and I believe God will give you permission, stop worrying about inviting. But we still have some work to do, and let me just tell you, I love the local church because it gets to be an extension of your personal ministry. You get to tell them your story, tell them about Jesus, and then you can bring them here and let them experience Jesus. And then you get to watch them get baptized. You get to watch them lift their hand at the end of service. You get to watch them go through next class. You get to watch them start serving and finding their purpose and their life getting transformed, and you get to be a part of that. And I believe Jesus is looking for some people that are willing to stop being like that number one reason of Christians just saying, I never thought about it. I don't ever think about it. I'm just doing things for me. I'm just trying to get through my day at work. I'm just trying to get through school. If you don't know my heart yet, I want you to know my heart is to be a church that is constantly reaching. The first church, the Bible says that God added to their number daily. I believe a growing church is a godly church. And I believe that our team and our leaders are doing everything in their power to keep God first in their lives, to lead you the best we can. And again, I want to start by telling you I don't have it all together. I'm far from perfect, but I do believe that I have something that I have to share. Last week, some people were here that I invited. Today, someone's supposed to be here that I invited at a restaurant. I want you to know I will lead the way. I'm not asking you to do all the work. I want you to know I will lead the way every day of my life and invite people to a relationship with Jesus, to come to a place where they can meet you amazing people. I hope you'll do the same. Let me pray for you. God, thank you so much for this day. Thank you for a time together where we are reminded of the Great Commission. We're reminded that your last words should be our very first priority. That we are working and doing life with people every day that need you. And I want to start with me, God, by saying I am so sorry for the days when I just didn't think about it. I'm so sorry, God, for the days when rejection got in my head and I allowed rejection to keep me from telling people the answer to all their problems. God, I just ask that you would put it on our hearts today. I pray you would put names on our hearts and in our minds right now of those who are far from you, those that are far from their purpose, God, that you would help us, you would create opportunities for us to share our story, share our faith, and share an invitation that could change everything for them.